Hello my viewers, welcome back to the channel. And by the video title, you know what this video is about. Today, we're doing our last edition. It's the last time as me holding the title. Well, actually, I got to the draft really, I guess, in a sense, you know, me being DB Con. So this is the last mock draft I'm doing. Right here, the last Steelers mock draft right here. I'm probably gonna do a mock draft for the NFL, the first, second, and third round next week, so be on the lookout for that. But my last mock draft I'm doing for the Steelers. So hope you guys are ready to enjoy this video and tune into this. I'm not gonna keep it too long like the other ones. Try to get to the point, get to the nitty gritty right here. Starting off first, I traded back in the draft because Kenneth Grant was already gone. You know, a guy who I feel like would be a good first round pick. He's already gone, so I was like, okay, they have some people still here. Tyleik Williams. I mean, he said Tyleik Williams. Yeah, Tyleik Williams, I had it right this time. Yeah, Tyleik Williams from Ohio State was still available. I was like, I'm taking a chance. Let me trade back still. I traded back with the Bills. The Bills get the 21st pick, and they got our 125th pick. I received, of course, the 30th pick, the 56th pick, and the Bills 177th pick. So yeah, so I was able to trade back and get some stuff like that. So they wanted to get that fourth round pick from us like that a little bit. So I was able to get an additional cause we already have 123rd pick, I think, right? Did I get a Bills? I get a Bills another pick. What is the fifth round? The fifth round pick? It was some pick I get a Bills. I forgot. It was some pick I get a Bills. But I know I kept my fourth and my fifth and the sixth and the seventh pick, and I also had my got a second pick as well from the trade. So made the deal, got that. So with the first pick in the draft, which is the 30th pick for us, I took Tyleik Williams, Ohio State defensive tackle. Big time player. You know, he's very good in the run game. We know this already. Of course, he played good in the run game. He played good in the pass rushing game as well, like that. Versatile piece up front. Can be a good anchor, of course. And you know, the Steelers struggle to stop in the run, especially in the playoffs. I mentioned this many times on this channel before. You know, that Ravens game where the Ravens rushed for 300 yards and walked us down was very bad. But I think getting a guy Tyleik Williams for the future, you know, Cam Hayward's a legend, but he's getting older. He's still playing at a high level, but he's getting older right now. So you need to go ahead and plan for the future. You're bringing a guy like Tyleik Williams, bringing him in to be your future defensive tackle, have him as a guy, a focal point with Kendall Ben in there as well, and another guy drafted too as well in his own draft as well to bring in to be that depth piece up front to stop the run. So I went Tyleik Williams with my first pick. Now my second pick, I went with Tate Ratledge, offensive guard from Georgia. Now you're probably thinking, offensive lineman, second pick, yeah. I'm an O-lineman, the offensive guard. I went with a guard last pick. I think I did the third round. This time I did the second round because I'm kind of had a feeling a little bit. Something just told me like this guy right here is a pretty good offensive guard. You know, playing in Georgia. Of course, Georgia has some of the best guys up front. Like that, he plays very well. He has good IQ, good awareness, good recovery as well. Very good job at being an anchor in the pass protection as well. Like that, holding off his different type of stunts and blitz and twist and all type of things that happen. You know, teams might do a lot of different things towards him, and he recovers well. He does a lot of great things, so he would be nice to bring in. The only thing that's kind of a knack on him, really, is you can say like the injuries occasionally, but a lot of linemen, it's hard to find some guys who are just fully fresh. He had the major injury he had was in 2020. He had the shoulder injury that was season ending. But besides that, you know, he went out there and just had been playing very good football. He had an ankle injury one time and missed a few weeks, came back and stuff. You know, had a little tweak in his knee, you know, missed the game and came back and stuff. But he did a cool job and stuff. But I think the Steelers, you know, I just see Amalu getting older, you know, declining a little bit as you've seen last year a little bit. He played all right, but it's kind of like going to the point where you need to go ahead and build his O-line up. You get a guy like that available, of course, up there. You know, Georgia produces some very good O-linemen, D linemen, you know, as well too. You know, they do a good job at that. So bring a guy in like that. You already got, of course, Buddy Jones going to move back to the left spot. You're going to have Trevor Townsend coming back off of an injury, moving to be on the right spot, of course. You're going to have, of course, McCormick, who did a good job last year. He did a good job in the fourth round. You have him play a guard, of course, for you because James Daniels is gone. And then you have Zach Frazier, who did a good job last year, too, a young center. Enter his second year, going to play center for you. And then you'll have this guy right here, and Tate Ratledge, being offensive guard. Because Amalu will probably be the starter initially, but you can kind of have him kind of ease himself in a little bit and be at that piece because, you know, injuries do happen. We've seen Amalu have injuries. He's a veteran. He's aging a little bit. So it'd be cool to bring in a guy to fill that void. Like I mentioned many times before, if you can't win the line of scrimmage, you can't win the trenches, you're not going to win the game. You can control the pace of the game, and the Steelers need to go out there and, you know, add the young course to start fresh. You have a young O-lineman. I think the one that with the most experience, besides Amalu, you know, the one to be drafted on our team is Buddy Jones. I think he entering what, year 4? Is it year 4 or year 3? Year 3, I think. Yeah, he entered year 3. So you have him out there, and you have everybody else out there too, young guys who are entering year 2 of their deal, and then you bring another guy in too, it can kind of start a new era of the O-line. So I think that would be a good pick. Tate Ratledge, offensive guard from Georgia. Moving on next. In my third pick in the draft, I went receiver, Jaden Higgins. Now, I usually go receiver 5th round most of the time, but this time with receiver Jaden Higgins, he was available in the 3rd round. Usually be gone sometimes. He was available in the 3rd round. 8th pick, I went with Jaden Higgins, receiver from Iowa State. 3% drop rate on 350 targets, which is very good. He's got good body control, good IQ. You look at his yards as well. He had 500 plus yard games last year, 87 receptions, 1,183 receiving yards, and 9 touchdowns. Amazing catch radius, being at 6'4", 220 plus pounds, 4.4 speed as well, and the versatility he can play inside, outside, to do a lot of different things as well. And he just know how to create separation. You watch his game, create separation. He does a good job of creating separation, and a good job at also contested catches, and a good job of just having this, being a reliable guy, like a reliable target, knowing how to find the soft spot in the zone, and knowing different ways to just get open, and different ways to be QB friendly, and just find the quarterback's vision like that, being the quarterback's vision, and get your quarterback a chance to make a play with you. So he's a very good receiver. And I'm kind of thinking like a little bit like, I've been talking about it a few times on the channel here and there. We had the discussions, remember the trade rumors about GP and all that stuff. The Steelers haven't paid GP yet. Usually you'd think it'd be done. Of course, year 3 usually when they pay people, but the Steelers haven't paid GP yet. And the way we paid DK Metcalf $30 million, and then now I'm seeing more and more TJ Watt contract, and had me thinking a little bit. I was like, the Steelers, they pay TJ Watt, they might not be able to pay GP any big money, because he's going to be probably asking for 20 plus something, 24 million a year or something. So they might need to get a receiver, in the 3rd, 4th round, maybe 1st round. You never know. We've seen them interviewing Matthew Golden and stuff, and Mike Ibuka and stuff. So you never know. They could go 1st round receiver and then go D-line in 2nd round. They make a trade or something. You never know what could happen. So maybe they might get a receiver high up, or I feel like the 3rd, 4th round, this is probably the best spot to find them too as well. But if you see a guy who's high up, maybe 1st round, 2nd round, hey, go ahead and get that guy, bring him in. And you might say, we're going to roll with this young guy, because we have 4 more years to wait. We have to pay him. And then you also have, or 5 years if you do the 5th-year option, if you give him in the 1st round. But you have a few years to wait before you have to pay him big time money. And also, it give you leeway too as well, especially if you perform well. I thought the Steelers, they Roman Wilson last year. Roman Wilson, they had him perform well. If he performed well last year, he only played 3 snaps because of the injuries, but Roman Wilson would have played last year and went, the same instance, he had like an 800-yard season, like a Juju. Remember Juju did at one time when he had like a big time year like that. I feel like they would have said, you know what, trade GP. After all the antics, they would have traded GP, I think. Roman Wilson would have went off last year, played like, had 800 receiving yards, 700, 800 receiving yards. They probably say, okay, at the DK trade, they would probably trade GP as well. I feel like they might be thinking about doing that maybe. If Jaden Higgins or whoever they draft like that, they bring a guy in like that and he does a good job and perform well, kind of like Jackson Smith-Njigba, yeah, from the Seahawks. The way he performed well. The Seahawks had DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf was kind of just growing to a little bit with the team, and he's a good player. But they like kind of just growing to like gonna find a way to kind of like move on from him. But you see JSN performing like the way he did the past few years. You're like, we can kind of move on now from him like that, do some different things, different direction. And now they got Cooper Kupp over there. They got him. They can probably draft another guy as well and see things kind of mixed up. So the Steelers could go that approach, and maybe get rid of GP. You never know what could happen. So I went with Jaden Higgins, my 3rd pick. Moving on to my 4th pick, I went with Ollie Gordon, running back from Oklahoma State. I mentioned him on the channel before. Big running back, 6'1", 226 pounds. He got a nice frame as well. He runs ferocious as well, like that power scheme. The dual threat running back can catch up the backfield as well. You look at his numbers. Last year, 190 attempts, 880 yards, 13 touchdowns. He had 23 receptions for 169 yards. But the year before that was probably one of his better years. He kind of had a little down year from the year previous like that. Things do change and stuff a little bit. He had less attempts and less carries and less touches. He had 285 attempts in that 2023 year with 1,732 rushing yards and 21 rushing touchdowns and 39 receptions for 370 yards. So he had 2,000 scrimmage yards the year before. And then this year right here, he had kind of the cups of 1,000 scrimmage yards. He had way less touches. I don't know if fully happened. I I watched probably like 2 of his games, like Oklahoma State, like that. I watched 2 of his games, so I don't know the full story of that, like that. I only been watching like his film recently, the past few months and stuff. So I don't know the full story of why his touches kind of reduced a little bit, but we've seen him being able to have the ability to carry a heavy workload, the ability to go out the back, catch at the backfield as well, his ability to do different things. So I think, Ollie Gordon would be nice to bring in. The Steelers to bring him in the 4th round pick. Of course, Cam Scatterbo would be cool to bring in too. DJ Giddens would be cool to bring in too as well. Or Marion Hampton, he might be a first round. He'll be a first round guy most likely. You bring him in. So I think Ollie Gordon will be great to bring in. And hey, bring him in like that. I think he'll do a very good job here, especially with the young O-line. And him, they all get kind of like familiar with each other and could be a big time thing for the next 5, 10 years. You never know what can happen. You never know. Moving on to my next pick, the 5th pick, I got Jordan Phillips, the 5th tackle from Maryland. I drafted him before on the channel. He has a lot of potential. I feel like, he haven't played a lot. If you look at his numbers and look at the stats and stuff, haven't played a lot. Of course, you watch his film, you see potential there. Potential to be a run stopper, potential to be, creating pressure and stuff as well. I feel like he just needs more opportunity, and he's still very young. He's only 20 years old. 20 years old, one of the younger players on the younger side. Still has a lot of potential left. I think he'd be a nice depth piece in his league. And the Steelers did a good job of developing front 7 guys. So I feel like this would be a guy who take a chance on with the size, with the ability. You see the speed, you see the quickness he has, of course, and the versatility he can play on the line as well. So you're probably saying, you know what, even if he haven't played a lot in college, I can probably still bring him in and see how things kind of shape out. So I went with Jordan Phillips with my 5th pick. Moving on next, I went with Cody Simon, or Simon. Linebacker for Ohio State. He's similar to him as well. He didn't play a lot until recently, like last year. He played kind of like more and more, but he didn't really play like a super lot of games in college. But you seen last year, basically his career year, he was coming out with 7 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He's a very explosive. He's quick. He's a very good blitzer as well, like that. He know how to just get and beat the block. He's a great tackler as well, and just has that nice ability, that high motor and that stuff you can't teach. Kind of like Herbie a little bit. You watch him, you see that a little bit. Now he's not an edge rusher. He's more he's a linebacker type, but you see him line up on the edge before and blitz in and do different things and stuff. So he's very versatile. And in coverage, he plays solid as well too. Solid and comfortable in coverage as well. He could probably have a little more improvement, but the way the Steelers going to play, you have Patrick Queen for that. You got Peyton Wilson for that. Atlanta Roberts is gone. You need another guy who is willing to go down there and be a downhill thumper. And he's the guy who has versatility to be a downhill thumper and also be solid in coverage. So Cody Simon wouldn't be bad. 7 sacks last year, 1 forced fumble. His ability to go out there and tackle in short, tight spaces and to break down and just create ruckus, gonna be nice. I think it'd be a good addition to add to the team. And my last pick, I went with in the 7th round, 2029 pick. I went with Jermari Harris, cornerback from Ohio. He had 3 picks last year. He's a ball hawk type. Had good instincts as well. Just bring more depth, of course, from the DB room like that. So I went with him. But yeah, this is basically my draft. My draft right here. The pieces that I got for the Steelers. I feel like the Steelers could go this approach. Maybe D lineman, maybe receiver 2nd round. You never know. Or running back, maybe. I guess it depends on like the availability of what player is there. Like if there's a big time player there, like say for instance Shedeur Sanders fall 21. Then your whole board changes. Okay, I'm taking Shedeur first, and then I'm gonna do a D lineman maybe second if I make a trade and get to that spot and get another pick. If not, maybe take a D lineman in the 3rd round, and then take a running back in the 4th round, and in the 5th round you might do a receiver, then linebacker in the 6th round or something. It just depends on how things shape out. But I feel like the approach, the Steelers just go like regular approach. They don't get opportunity to get their quarterback. I feel like Shedeur Sanders will probably be gone before 21, which he should be unless the GMs are stupid and let them fall. They let them fall. Hey, I'd be all for it. But I think Tyleik Williams would be great to bring in. So D lineman, offensive guard, receiver, running back, defensive tackle again, linebacker, and then a DB. I thought that'd be the best way to go in a draft like that. You add depth in the spots you need. You add the pieces that you need. Running back, of course, is a top 4 pick. You add a receiver as well to GP potential replacement because he might not be here. If you got to pay TJ Watt some big money, I don't think you better pay TJ Watt and GP unless you do something else. Maybe you move on for somebody. I don't think you move on from Alex Highsmith. That's probably the only contract I can see. Maybe you might switch some things up. Maybe trade him away because you got Herbig and the way Herbig been playing too as well. But I feel like you should keep the whole core together. So most likely we'll probably see a replacement drafted for GP in this draft. So we'll see what happens. But overall, this is my draft right here. This is the last DBCon draft right here. DBCon will still be available. I'm doing the draft. I'm gonna be live streaming, so I'm gonna be DBCon for a few more, for another week, and then see how things shape out. But yeah, this has been a good little mock draft stuff. This is the last edition, so I'll see you guys next year. for some more mock drafts, of course. I'm gonna have a mock draft for the NFL first, second, and third rounds next week. But for the Steelers mock drafts only, I'll see you guys next year for that, and that's gonna be even big time because I'm gonna be in Pittsburgh actually doing a draft next year. I'm gonna be in Pittsburgh. Probably the whole week. I'm gonna be on draft day and all the cool stuff. We'll do some collabs, we'll do some. Probably trying to do a charity football game, flag football game, and a lot of cool things. So I'm gonna be in Pittsburgh next year for the draft. So it's gonna be very, very fun. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Peace out.